Today we're talking about the original 12. And, yep, Sakurai is most likely not going to be the head of the next Smash Bros. Game. Which means, yep, the whole entire Smash rules and all Smash rules will not really apply anymore, because it will be up to Nintendo's corporate of who will be in and can't be in Smash Bros. Again, we already discussed the first episode. Dr. Mario could be removed from Super Smash Bros. Or he could not be removed. This was also the same day when it was also ironically the same day when Nintendo announced they would discontinue the Dr. Mario mobile game. But what about the original 12? What will be the fate? Well, today we'll be asking that question. And many more unnecessary questions that you probably won't need to know about the next Smash Bros. Game. Number one is the next Smash Bros. Game will likely not be developed by Sakurai, more than likely. Sakurai will retire from making Smash Bros. Games. He might make like a few passing projects here and there between him until his actual retirement, but I don't think he'll be making Smash Bros. I think Nintendo will probably get a team at Namco to help and some other executives at Nintendo. Zelda, of course, did not die of its creator either, and yeah, Mario, same thing could be applied to the Super Mario franchise as well. Just because the creator of a series is not making it anymore doesn't mean Nintendo can stop making the series, especially if it's profitable. So because just because Miyamoto is not making exactly the next Mario game doesn't mean they can make it. Doesn't mean they can make someone else who is also very talented can make another Mario game. The same thing can be applied to Zelda and many of Nintendo's most successful franchises, such as Pokemon as well. But we'll be going over which characters can be removed if Nintendo removed a character from the original 12. So, obviously, I don't think Mario. Obviously, the original 8 likely will not be removed. We're talking about Mario, Donkey, especially the Mario characters. Nintendo would likely want to keep all the Mario characters in as possible, because Nintendo wants to show off Mario and his big universe. So yeah, and Donkey Kong and Mario are two of Nintendo's most important characters. Same thing with Link. Why would they cut Link from the roster? Same thing with Samus, Yoshi, Kirby, Fox, and Pikachu. Yes, Star Fox may not be as popular and may not be as relevant as other Nintendo franchises, but Star Fox has still been a Nintendo property. The problem is Nintendo doesn't know what to do with Star Fox, and they don't because of the fan base. Whereas it's definitely a pretty bad fan base because they demand all these things from Star Fox that really, because they complain about the newer games, but then, they refuse to give play to newer games. Therefore, low sales, therefore, dead series. It happened. It's not, Star Fox is not the only victim of this grave either. But Star Fox has always been remembered as a pretty good and fun series that was killed by its fan base. Same thing with Sonic the Hedgehog. Sega needs to warn that they can't please everybody. And Nintendo needs to warn that you can't please every Star Fox fan, especially the nostalgia fans. So, we'll be going over the last 4 characters. Luigi definitely is never being cut. That's obvious. But the last 3, Ness is the first one. Earthbound isn't really relevant to Nintendo's game series anymore. But I see Lucas being cut before Ness. But if Nintendo wants to stuff out Earthbound from the series forever, I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo eventually does it. Because Nintendo really does not give a crap about Earthbound. It took fans literally begging Nintendo to give them Earthbound on the Wii U. And they're still begging for Earthbound on the Switch as well. I'm talking about a port of the game, not a new game. And they're still begging for Mother 3 on the Switch. But I think Lucas will be removed first before Ness, because Lucas is from a Japanese-only game, and and Ness has been around for much longer. But Ness was already wanted to be put into Nintendo actually already planned to remove Ness at an earlier date in Melee. And I wouldn't be surprised if Earthbound becomes less and less relevant to Nintendo's goals and money, Ness might be eventually be removed. But for now, Ness is likely probably staying for like a lot more Smash Bros. Games. Next is Captain Falcon. Nintendo's not ruling Captain Falcon. Yes, F-Zero hasn't had a new game in a while, but Nintendo wouldn't remove Captain Falcon. He is basically Mr. Smash Bros. At this point. Why would they remove a guy that basically symbolizes the entire game franchise? And then we have the last character. This is Jigglypuff. I always said many times that Jigglypuff is not popular anymore, and I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo would lose Jigglypuff. I don't know why people are so against this idea. Jigglypuff has constantly been named one of the worst characters in every game since Brawl. Yep, one of the worst characters in the entire game. It seems that even Sakurai forgets Jigglypuff existed and did not pass out a single time, or it, or him, or whatever you want to call Jigglypuff, and Brawl. No, not Brawl. Smash 4. And Brawl and Melee, Jigglypuff was almost cut. So, and Smash 4 even. I think Melee Jigglypuff wasn't considered to be cut because Jigglypuff was still relevant. But in Brawl and Smash 4, Jigglypuff was almost cut twice. So if Nintendo was at the helm and didn't really give a crap about Wizard 12 rules, and Sakurai was not at the helm, Jigglypuff would likely be the first character to be removed from the game of the Wizard 12. I know people are not going to want to hear the fact that Jigglypuff has a possibility of being cut, but even then, there's still just only a possibility. Jigglypuff isn't the most relevant Pokemon to the Pokemon franchise. Heck, if you look at the Google poll, Jigglypuff even topped the top 30 in his or her own generation. Again, Jigglypuff can be male or female, so it doesn't really matter. Same thing on Pikachu. But the same thing still stands. Jigglypuff isn't really popular anymore by the Pokemon fandom. Pokemon fandom has grown up from nearly Gen 1. There are now 8 Pokemon generations to put the Pokemon from. And there are definitely much more popular Pokemon from Gen 1 that are not even in the game, such as Gengar, for one example, both being one as well. And so many fighting, and of course Machamp, which is of course a famous fighting type Pokemon from Gen 1. I think it'll be more possible for Mewtwo and Charizard, Mewtwo and Pokemon Trainer return, but not Jigglypuff. Pokemon Trainer represents the entire series as a whole, and Mewtwo is still very popular to this day. And Nintendo said that they admitted they picked Pokemon based off their popularity, with the exception of Incineroar, because they just picked them because they wanted to add they just wanted to add Incineroar to the game. Even though the Citywire was obviously the much more popular choice. Same thing with Greninja being picked over Zoroark, but Greninja being picked over Zoroark led to Greninja's massive popularity overall. So Greninja was already a good pick anyways, because Greninja is definitely far more popular than Jigglypuff is now. And when I talk to a Gen 1er who says Jigglypuff is one of the best Pokemon of all time, even though they only watched the earlier Pokemon anime, and they haven't played past Red and Blue, and haven't watched past the first seasons of the Pokemon anime. So therefore, most Pokemon fans don't really care for Jigglypuff. The only saving grace for Jigglypuff at this point is Jigglypuff having the fairy typing. Yep, the fairy typing. Jigglypuff was so forgettable that Jigglypuff was actually forgotten for Pokemon Sword and Shield. Yep, even the Pokemon Company doesn't care that much about Jigglypuff, but Jigglypuff was supposed to be an icon of the Pokemon series. But heck, they forgot to put Greninja in Pokemon Sword and Shield and still don't have him in the game. Probably because they didn't want to add any more starters to Pokemon Sword and Shield. But I think they'll probably take note of that poll in the future and probably include Greninja in more games. But not Jigglypuff, because really, who cares about Jigglypuff at this point? And yep, it's kind of sad that Jigglypuff's popularity has basically declined over the years. Maybe Nintendo might want to keep all of them in because they want to have the original All-Stars in the game. But considering that Jigglypuff, out of all of the characters, they want Jigglypuff removed. Basically, I wouldn't be surprised if Jigglypuff was removed entirely in a future Smash Bros. Game. Probably not anytime soon, but yep, there we go about this video about the original 12. So could any of the original 12 be cut? Not likely in the near future. But it's a possibility. That's basically it. Goodbye.